Welcome to our Week 11 KK Collision Football Show. Along with Tori Strock, I am Lynn Grohl. We're joined by three coaches that have buys this week. We're going to pick their brains about what they're doing this week. Paulding's Jim Menzie, David Dominique of Archbold, and Casey Moeller of Liberty Center. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time on a Monday night. I know you're busy, maybe not as busy this week as usual, but we appreciate you guys stopping out. Thank you very much.
No problems.
Boy, these two just had a heck of a battle a few nights ago. We were fortunate to see that. Great game by both of you. David, great first half, and Casey, whatever you told the boys at halftime, got the job done, but a classic NWAL battle. Hopefully you both came out somewhat healthy.
Yeah.
Bumps and bruises.
Yeah, pretty sore.
Coach Menzie just wrapped up a 10-0 season. What I want to know from you, and Lynn and I have talked about this, what's it like in the school and community to turn in the first undefeated season since your day? How cool has it been?
It's been awesome. The community buys in, the parents have bought in, and eventually the kids. So we turned that program around just with the culture. So it's been a long battle, but I think it's here to stay now.
Coach Dominic, sum up your regular season for us.
Yeah, well, just ended Friday night with against a very good Liberty Center team. It was a tale of two halves. We had some momentum in the first half, but obviously good teams exploit your weaknesses, and they did a good job of that. Lost to St. Henry as well earlier this year. One of those games you look back on, and we had our chances, against a very good team. Just made too many mistakes, but again, another team that just is top notch, and went toe to toe with Marion Local the next week.
Coach Moeller, how would you sum up your regular season, and as you head into the playoffs here, another undefeated regular season, another league championship?
Well, obviously it was a successful season for us, wrapping up with a league title and 10-0, but it was, a lot of high expectations, which creates a little bit of pressure, but I thought our kids did a really good job of staying focused from week to week and managing that, and then, going out and performing pretty well. And we've had a ton of community support. Like Coach said, when you get that community support, it's a big deal. The kids, it feeds the kids a little bit, it feeds the community a little bit, and it just kind of snowballs. So we've been really fortunate with that, and we were able to, really end the season, kind of how you want. You want to be playing, for something, and to play against a really quality team as you head into playoffs is a good test for you.
All in uncharted territory this week with the bye that you have. Coach Menzie, take me through what you're doing at Paulding this week. Anything different than normal?
Trying to get these boys focused is one, but trying to help them bruises right now. They got quite a few bruises going on. Kind of see what's going on. The teams we're going to be playing the same as we've been dealing with throughout the season, so get a good chance to see them Friday night, in different terms, so we can kind of pick it apart. But besides that, getting the boys back into the routine was something we chose to do today, and then for the next couple of days, trying to get them there. So it's different. It's a different atmosphere, so hopefully this helps them mentally prepare.
Coach Dominic, how are you handling this off week?
Very similar. The big concern here is the focus. We actually took today off. It was one of those decisions we made. Get our legs back under us. It's been a gauntlet the last couple of weeks. Had some good quality opponents. So trying to heal guys up, because if we want to make a run in Region 22, we got to be healthy. And that's what I know a lot of coaches are saying right now. But we'll get right back to it tomorrow. It's a little challenging when you're not really sure who you're playing, so how much you want to dive into both teams, or that's the question right now. So, but yeah, we're going to get right back to practice tomorrow.
Casey, how are you guys handling this week at Liberty Center?
I think similar to what probably about everybody is. It's we came in today and tried to keep Monday normal. We'll take Saturday off, which that'll be the first Saturday these kids have had off since July. But we'll scale back what we're doing. And like Dave said, it's hard. You can't really prepare for a team. And if you assume that a team's going to win in the playoffs, it usually doesn't happen. So for us, we're going to work really hard on fundamentals, just things that we can improve on, that it doesn't matter who you play. Those are the things we're going to focus on and try to get healthy. Contact is going to be minimal. We're going to hit the weight room pretty hard. We want to get in there and gain some strength, but just get fresh, get healthy. Friday was the second 4-quarter game our kids have played, and I think they're feeling the effects of it over the weekend. They're pretty sore, so they need to recover in that way as well.
So, Coach Menzie, regardless of who wins in your region Friday night, you're going to play a league opponent in your first game. How do you feel about that? You'd probably rather play someone that's never seen you, right? What do you think about that?
We was hoping.
Yeah.
But no, you got to prepare, no matter which way you go. The thing is, they know our weaknesses, we know theirs. It's got to figure out how we're going to exploit them and maybe throw a couple crinkles in the system. I think that's pretty much the best way to kind of go that route. And then we're, hopefully Friday night we can kind of see, how they're going to perform and who's alien on that side of the line. So I think it'll help us out a little bit.
What do you guys, if you had to say something you're looking forward to with the bye, and then something you're not real excited about with the bye, is there anything that stands out to you? What's good about it? What's bad about it?
I think the good about it is it gives coaches an opportunity to kind of refresh our minds too. Players get healthy. The bad thing is not playing. I mean, I think that momentum, we had this swing going, and I think, when you slow down, it's how the kid's going to react. Are they going to step right back up? Are we going to be going, 110%? We'll find that out pretty quick.
David, the good and the bad.
Yeah, I think we're all creatures of habit as coaches and players, and being out of the routine. I mean, it's been a little different for me. I know the kids, I'm sure they've enjoyed it a little bit, but I'm just getting them back to where we need to be come tomorrow. That's the one thing that really concerns me right now. But the good, not just physically, but mentally, refresh a little bit, taking 24 hours off, totally 48 hours off from football. It's good for everybody. I hope. Maybe I'll say something different next week, but right now I think for all parties involved, just be a little refreshing to get a little break.
Casey?
Kind of the same thing. I think the good is you can kind of take a deep breath, relax a little bit. I know my weekend was a lot different. Got some stuff done around the house that I normally wouldn't have got done. And the kids obviously are going to not be as taxed mentally and physically. But the downside is, you're really worried about staying sharp. And all I can think about is like the college football playoff last year. Every team that had a bye lost. And so I'm losing sleep over that. How do we stay sharp but not be too taxing on them on an off week? Because, really, you say you have a bye week, but it's 2 weeks before you play games, and that's scary to me. And I'm sure it is to a lot of coaches that, because for 10 weeks we've done the exact same thing every day of the week, and the kids know what to do. We could probably not have coaches there, and they could run through the routine of practice. And now that's different, and that's a little bit scary.
Great point.
Yeah. Have any of you reached out to colleagues, maybe a college coach, people that experienced a bye week before, or are you just kind of going into it and trying to figure it out yourselves this week?
I asked Casey on Friday night what he was going to do.
We kind of talked about it, man, this is going to be different. So
he didn't have any advice for me. I was hoping I get something. No, this is new. This is new for all of us. I think COVID year, there was a bye week. I was trying to look back at my notes for that. I know I didn't like it. I can tell you I didn't like anything going on at that time, but that was the last time we had a bye week. It was all the way back in 2020, whatever that was.
Coach, did you reach out to anybody, or are you just doing your own thing?
Kind of doing our own thing to a sense. Truthfully, the boys, our numbers aren't very, very large, so just kind of relaxing a little bit, reaching out. I've only been in the program 4 years, so it's kind of it's a new thing for me too. So we're kind of all in the flow together. So.
What would be, Casey, you talked about staying sharp, and Lynn and I were talking about this before you guys rolled in. I got to believe this will be a week to maybe get back to the basics. The day one fundamentals, footwork, maybe technique, tackling, form. What's your points of emphasis this week?
Well, like you said, we're going all the way back to, are we tipping anything off with our stances? Our footwork, first step, pad level, all that stuff. What's our reads, things like that. Just go back to week one and almost do a reset. Like, the regular season's over, we're starting a whole new season. Let's, for this week, get back to square one, shore all that up, and then come next week we can prep for game.
Good. David, feel the same?
Yeah, similar to that. Another thing, I think, looking at your tendencies. Sometimes you get in the heat of the season, you don't take a ton of time. You're so focused on who you're playing. But looking at things that we're doing, trying to make sure there's not some tip-offs on film. That's the big thing right now. Going back, self-analyzing what we're doing and how we can get better as we kind of approach this week 12 for us.
Cool.
That's the exact same thing. We're trying to figure out right now. The tendencies part is definitely something big. That's what we stress as coaches, is figure out, what teams do on third down or first down, or what's the probability. So, and getting the boys back, I think the coaches hit on it, trying to go back to day one, some tackling drills, trying to figure out, as the year progresses, you start to see a little bit of sloppiness. It gives us a chance now to kind of critique that. We critiqued the film today, just trying to humble them a little bit, trying to bring it back down to earth and say, you got here because of the correct stuff. And we kind of rode them a little hard today, but the boys understood. And they're waiting for the next step now.
Were you guys in favor of having a bye when this new playoff scenario came about, or what were your thoughts when you look back on that and there was a possibility of a bye, or would you rather be playing this week in your mind?
Or does it depend who you'd be playing?
Yeah, it's true. I think I look back to the first round when they sent us the survey, what year it was. I was in favor of 12 then. I don't know if I am now. I don't know. Things have changed a little bit. I understand it. You got some teams like in the, Adelda, for example, that, deserves to be in the playoffs. They've had a good schedule, played some really good teams. I understand it there, definitely. And you're going to see some upsets. We know that. But yeah, it's a, I guess after, give me about 9 days, I'll let you know. 9-10 days, but it's just different for everybody.
We experienced the last game to get to playoffs the last couple of years. So when he said 12 games, I was like, here we go. He told the boys, now we got to sharpen up, hone our skills and get back to basics. And to be in a position in this year, we're grateful for that part. But I guess it'll play out, kind of see what goes on. So you get an opportunity. Some of the teams, like we spoke, and say, are they on the bubble? Could they have made it? I look at Duff's, was it St. John's last year? They made a pretty good run in their spot. So you got them Cinderella teams that come through. And we actually were one of them. Just to get an opportunity to get in the playoffs at the last seed for 2 years, and then this year's been a great focus for us.
I think initially I was deathly afraid of a bye. So I did not want to bye, but I also didn't want 16 teams. I thought that was silly to have that many teams in there. Wasn't a big fan of the 12. I thought 8 was probably best, even though you probably get some teams that are going to miss out that probably shouldn't. But I just thought, schedule-wise, I'd prefer to have 8. There's no bye week. But 16 was too many, and 12 was just awkward. So I don't know what the answer is, and I'm like, Coach Dominique, it's like, well, we'll find out in a couple weeks whether we like this bye or not, because you just don't know. And you could not play very well, and it has nothing to do with the bye. So people will speculate, make assumptions or whatever. But
Do you think you will maybe tinker, say 5-6 years down the road, you're in the same position? Could you foresee maybe doing something different down the road after you've experienced this a couple times?
I could see probably from year to year, okay, what did we do last year that we thought was good, and what did we maybe not like, and just tweak things from there. I think we've done that every year. Our practices are a little bit different now than they were 5 years ago. So I definitely think this is going to be a year to learn, and then figure out what you like, what you don't like.
Go ahead.
Very similar there. Again, territory none of us have been in before. We don't know how it's going to go. There's some things I like about it, but obviously there's a lot of unknowns going into next week. With no opponent to prepare for right now. I think that's something we've gotten so used to. You always have something tangible to prepare for, and now it's kind of feels like we're in a preseason all over again. Late July, when things start, kind of moving their way forward. So it'll be again something that we all can learn through.
Then you got the boys. You don't know how they're going to act. Are they going to respect it, get enough sleep? They're going to study. They're going to enhance themselves. So we're speculating and we're going to push, but again, when they got a little bit of that freedom, that's where you're going to find out who's the discipline the team is.
No, go ahead, Coach. I didn't mean to cut you off. Maybe you guys don't know the answer to this. Maybe you haven't asked them or checked the pulse on it. How do the kids feel about having the bye? Are some of them refreshed? Are they anxious? They want to play again? How do they feel?
I think coming into it, there's a lot of unknowns the last couple of weeks, but we knew we had a pretty good shot after week 9 getting the bye. I think we locked it in. There's a lot of questions from the kids. So what are we going to do? How are we going to practice that week? What are we going to get ready for? And that's all good questions, because it's new to them too. I think talking to them today, some of them, it was good to see that. I don't know what I'm going to do this afternoon. I'm thinking I'm going to go home and take a nap. I'm like, oh, go ahead, enjoy it today, but we're back to work tomorrow. So I'm not sure this is the best thing to give them a day off today, but my thought was, today off, and then we're going the rest of the week. It's a little opposite of you. You're taking Saturday, but we're going to bring them in Saturday and kind of start our week like we normally would.
Casey, how do your kids feel?
I really haven't taken the pulse on that. I think they're so much into a routine. They just knew that I'm showing up Monday and we're gonna practice, and it was similar to what we usually do. We typically have a scouting report before we head out, and we didn't have that today. So. But everything else was pretty much normal, and so I don't know that they know any different right now, which I think is probably good, and that's one of the things we wanted to do is keep it as normal as possible. I think when Friday rolls around, they're probably not going to like not having a game, which I think is good because they're competitive, they want to play, and hopefully that we talked about, you need to stay hungry. If you really like something and then somebody takes it away from you, hopefully it makes you hungry to get it back, and that's kind of what we're hoping for.
Coach, how about the Paulding kids? Any thoughts on how they feel?
Well, I think it's a little different for us. We got a unique bracket, so we've already played them. So we're preparing. Peyton and I on the way over today was talking about some things we got to work on, get some things. So it's actually different for us because we've had experience who we got to play. The idea is like you haven't played something before, so you got to wait in kind of the dark and kind of figure out what's going on. So, the boys are excited about it, but on the same note, it's kind of it's an anxious feeling to know. You kind of suspect who you're going to win, but, it's Friday night. You don't ever know who's going to pull out the win and loss there.
Who do you suspect? No, I'm kidding. Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
It might be a tough
But in your mind who you're betting on.
Yep.
Coach Menzie, you're in a little different spot. Coach Dominique, you're in a unique spot compared to these two because you could play Eastwood again, Casey, and have them next week. You have two teams that you have not seen yet this season. Will you have the ability to look at some film on each of those teams this week, or will you wait till next week in your regular routine, or how will you go about that?
Yeah, one thing, us coaches with technology nowadays, there's film everywhere. It's all YouTube, you can look it up right now. So we dug in a little bit, big thing for us to get an idea of what we could see, and the kids have figured it out quickly too. They find film, and I think it's a good thing to see that they're anxious to know who we're playing. But again, it's, as I told them throughout the classes today, we can just focus on ourselves day by day. Don't worry about what's coming on Friday or who really cares right now. Saying it that way, but we got to focus on some things that we need to improve on. Obviously, we have some weaknesses that need to improve by next Friday.
Casey, give me your thoughts. If you play Eastwood, you've seen them before. How big of a deal is it playing a team the second time in your mind? And you saw Oak Harbor the last couple of years as well, so you have an idea there. But
yeah, we're familiar with Oak Harbor because we've played them the last 2 years, and we're familiar with Eastwood because we played them week 2. I don't think any coach likes to play the same team twice in a year. But we know Eastwood is a different team today than they were week 2. They got their starting quarterback back. They were minus a receiver week 2 as well. That is really dynamic. So that changes things a little bit. I'd like to think we're a little bit different team than we were week 2. So, yeah, we're familiar with each other, but at the same time, you've had 8 weeks to get better, and so things are going to be different. And I know Eastwood is better than what they were. They're going to be a little bit different with a different quarterback and another starting receiver that they didn't have. So you're familiar, but at the same time, you got to prepare as if you haven't played them, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Coach Menzie, your thoughts on you're going to have to play somebody the second time. You like that? Don't like that? Give me your thoughts.
It's they always say it's kind of hard to defeat somebody twice, And I mean, it was actually our better games that we had to play this year, so it brought the best out of everybody. It's a chance. The only thing I really hope for is maybe they go out there and they got to bang each other pretty hard there, So it gives me a chance to have the healthier squad, but that's really kind of the luck of the draw.
If you guys would, and I know you're all three very humble, and you're not going to want to leave anybody out because you respect everybody, but talk about your respective regions. You guys are in the same region, David and Jim. Talk about your respective region, some of the teams you think that'll present quite a challenge. Go ahead, Coach.
I think it's, everybody brings something different to the table. One thing is, you always got to be a student of the game. And when you quit respecting that part, you kind of lose the interest and also what's going on. And Archbold, it goes back to, when I played in high school, we didn't get a chance to play them anywhere, but we played them in a scrimmage, and it kind of has that love. But, you want to do the best you can do. And I think just following our region for the last, 6 weeks pretty heavy, I think it's going to be some great talent that everybody's got to focus on and prepare for. So, we're focusing on, we're focusing on Tenora and Fairview, but at the end of the day, you still got to look ahead and still see which way you're going. So, this week coming up is going to be our preparation for the rest of the season, trying to figure out what we got to do.
Coach Dominic, who's your pick to win that region?
You said you weren't going to put us on the spot.
I got to a little bit.
You look through the 1 through 8, and it's some of the lower seeds even in that, even the 9 through 12. Bluffton is, sitting in the 7th spot. They won the region last year, and I've watched their quarterback a little bit. He is one of a kind. So, and then obviously playing Patrick Henry, familiarity there. Coming into the season, we knew that they were going to be really good, and they are. And they're sitting at an 8 seed right now, which is scary. And obviously Paulding, Fairview. We haven't seen them this year, but there's just a lot of good teams. We're new to the region. Coming back from Region 18. So some of these teams we don't know much about, and I think at the end of the day, you better respect them all, because if not, you'll be humbled in a hurry.
Yep. Casey, Region 18.
Well, for us, we're a little bit familiar with Oak Harbor. There's a team that's really well coached. They've been really physical the last couple of years. So I think that's a team that's got playoff experience. It's pretty tough. Eastwood is another one that's been in the region. Has a lot of experience, a lot of really good athletes. They're well coached. Don't know a lot about some of the teams like a Rooster Triway that, from what I hear, is very, very good. They've played some good competition. A lot of the other teams, obviously we know Delta, but Frederickstown, I don't know anything about. Edison, we played last year. They're very good. They're well coached. So those are teams that you got to be concerned about, but I think the team to beat in this region is Liberty Benton. We've played them 2 out of the last 3 years, and they've got a lot of talent. The Elkert twins are, D1 athletes. They've got big, strong offensive, defensive line. They've got a defensive end. I don't know his name, but he reminds me of Grant Smith.
Yeah.
And they have a very good senior class. I think 5 of them started as freshmen. So they're very, very good, and I would say that's probably the team we got to beat to get out of the region.
Okay. Good stuff, guys.
Coach Menzie, correct me if I'm wrong, but that Paulding team in '88 knocked off that Archbold team in that scrimmage, I believe.
Yeah, we got lucky there.
Okay.
It was a great scrimmage. Seriously, it was a very good scrimmage, and we actually went to Washington State when they won it, so it was definitely a great team.
How have you been able to bring the Paulding program back?
Well, you reach out. First got out there, started reaching out to the parents and trying to get them to understand that I'm here for the kids, not just just another coach coming in here trying to get recognition. So the weight room, countless hours of the weight room, and then I'm telling you, I feel like a politician when I say this, but I'm going to many wrestling meets, and I'm going to basketball and trying to pull in every kid that is breathing and Paulding right now to get out there, and I think it's actually changing. So when you're getting 15, 16, 7th and 8th graders in a weight room, and then your high school's coming along, I think that's how the culture's changed.
Did you foresee this day where you would be 10-0, GMC champions when you took over at Paulding. Did this happen quicker than you thought, or did you feel like this was a possibility?
I'll tell you, it's a dream come true. Don't get me wrong, but I've always admired Paulding, living in Fort Wayne for a lot of years and seeing it, and then coming back and then trying to establish a coaching. And I really believe that it's the coaching staff that helps conquer that goal for us. They put in a lot of hours, just as myself, but to make the kids believe in themselves is probably the biggest part of our winning success.
KK Collision is a leader in the auto repair industry that has been servicing Northwest Ohio's auto needs for over 27 years. We offer a fast and reliable repair option that stands above the competition. When your vehicle enters our facility, you can be assured that you have chosen the most technologically advanced repair facility in the area. KK Collision is an automotive body and mechanical shop, as well as both a light and heavy-duty towing service located in Liberty Center. Our towing services cover Northwest Ohio and the surrounding area 24 hours a day. Are you in need of a repair estimate? Visit us anytime during business hours for a free estimate at T556 Ohio 109 on the north side of Liberty Center, or call 888-533-7801 or visit our website at kkcollision.com.
Guys, I hate doing this because I know you're afraid to leave somebody out, but I'm always curious, maybe some younger kids or some kids in your program that maybe weren't on your radar day one that have kind of emerged and become contributors to your program this year. Does anybody stand out?
We have our center has really matured. Took that spot over. Young, pretty good sized kid. Right now, we got a lot of kids going both ways. So every kid on our team has been a very good contributor. We need all the reps and breathers we can get. So any kid that can fill in and get in, we feel they can help out. And I think it's really matured those kids to come up, especially this latter 4 or 5 weeks, helps us out trying to get to that goal there.
David, anybody that maybe wasn't on your depth chart maybe at the beginning that has kind of emerged and really been a contributor?
I think for us, there were a lot of unknowns coming into this year. Just we had a lot of people play last year. We had our struggles at times last year. But I'm gonna focus on a couple of seniors that really stepped up for us, and Max Burrows, Joseph Williams, those two linebackers. They've done what they needed to do to lead our team. I've been really impressed by that. And we're still a young team. I understand that, and there's I can go through all the sophomores and juniors that are making plays, but at the end of the day, you need seniors to lead your team. And you need guys to step up, and they've done a good job doing that this year.
Very good. Casey, anybody?
I think it's not a lot of underclassmen, but like seniors that are major contributors for us this year that were not starters for us last year. And I think there's a stigma sometimes that, you're a junior, but you're not a starter and you got to play JV. And we've really tried to kill that stigma. Like, JV is your opportunity to develop, because as a senior, we're going to count on you. We lost 4 out of our 5 starters in the secondary last year. And we had like a lot of corners and our snipers, strong safety guys we didn't have a lot of, and we moved like 2 kids during 7-on-7 to those spots. And just, hey, why don't you go play this real quick? And it was like, okay, I think this kid was probably not going to start at corner, but I think we found a home for him. JT Olcrew was one that really athletic, pretty dynamic, but just not real big. And it kind of scares you on the outside a little bit, but we moved him inside as like a slot corner, and he's played phenomenal all year for us. And we thought, he's going to be good in the return game, which he has, but defensively, he's just we gave him that opportunity, and he hasn't given it up. Isaac Worth is another one who was a linebacker, and kind of the same deal. Why don't you try this safety spot, and has done a really good job there for us this year. Mason Smith is another one that is a senior, had been a quarterback, and then we kind of moved him to tight end this year and has been a huge contributor for us, played safety for us as well. And Caden Sonnenberg is another one that plays sniper for us or safety. And all 4 of those guys have been major contributors for us in the secondary, and none of them started last year. They all played JV, and those are the guys you love to see and use those as role models. As if you stick with the program and you work the program, come your senior year, you're going to be ready to go. And they've been major contributors for us. And then there's some young guys that you watch as freshmen and you think, man, those guys are pretty talented. Hopefully they can help us. Isaiah Badenhop is one who's become a starter for us and is a great athlete. You watch him play basketball and you can say, oh, man, I think that can help us in football. Henry Fitzenreiter is another one. We thought he's going to be really good by week 4 if we can have him ready. And he hit week 4 and he was ready to go. And so those are some young guys. Sawyer Bockelman's another one that we thought, man, if we can really get him ready, and he's just exceeded our expectations. So we've had a lot of first-year players that you just never know about, and they've, I think the culture and the senior leadership has kind of brought them along, and those guys have bought in.
That's good stuff, Casey. Great answer.
Yeah. Casey, I asked you this for our pregame show, I know, before the Patrick Henry game. You haven't had a lot of competitive games this year and the last couple years, actually. How do you handle practices to kind of keep your kids in a competitive spirit? Take me through that a little bit and how you've handled a lot of running clocks in non-competitive games, Coach.
Well, for us, I mean, when we prepare, we don't prepare to have a running clock. We're preparing to play 4 quarters, and I think the running clocks a lot of times are the result of our preparation, and that's just the way we do it. We're not going to go into a game thinking that we're going to have a running clock. We have a standard of we're preparing to beat the best teams in the state of Ohio. We're not preparing to beat any specific team, and that's kind of been our philosophy, and I think that's helped us. It's hard to get kids to buy into that. Like, I don't think they quite understand it at first, but we've been, we made some good playoff runs that now I think they get it. We played like South Range 3 years ago, and they just stuck it to us, and it's like, we have to be prepared to beat that team. And the next year, I think we were. But that's how we prepare, and then, the running clock games have been a result of that. But, and we tell them, at some point in time, our backs are going to be against the wall, and how we respond to that is going to be determine what the outcome is. And, Friday, we were in that spot. I don't know if they believe you every time you tell them something like that, but we said, we're going to be in a game where you guys are going to have to do we're not going to have a running clock. And we responded in the second half pretty well, but you got to just constantly hammer that stuff in them. It can't just be, we said it in August and you didn't believe us. It's constant, and that's kind of how we do it.
Did that South Range game really teach your kids and maybe coaching staff something in your mind? Has that helped your program?
Oh, yeah, and it probably started the year before when we played Cary.
Yeah.
If you think South Range physically beat us, Cary physically beat us up. And we said, we got to do something different here. How do we compete with that? And then we ran into South Range, kind of the same thing. So it's been a kind of a slow process, but we've hopefully gotten to a point where we can compete against those type of teams. But definitely, if you just say, oh man, they beat us and we played bad, and you don't go back and look and try to learn from that, I think you're doing your kids a disservice. And that's kind of what we did. We audited that game, every single play, and we didn't coach very good that year. If we lose a game, that's on me. We either don't have the right guys on the field, we weren't prepared, or we called a bad game or whatever. So, as a staff, we had to go back and evaluate that.
If any of you guys, David, we'll start with you here, give Casey a break. If you had to fill in the blank here, how would you answer this? In order for us to make a deep playoff run, and I know you're worried one game at a time, I get it, but in order for us to make a deep playoff run, we need to improve here. Where is it if you had to put your finger on something?
Discipline for us still. We've done a pretty good, and as a coach, you talk about discipline all the time, but the turnovers, the things that you can prevent, and you can't always prevent all the turnovers, I understand that, and penalties, but at the end of the day, if you want to win in the playoffs, you better play disciplined football. And obviously, I'd say physical too. You want to win, you got to be physical, and we found out the hard way Friday night. I thought we were physical for a half, but that doesn't win against the really good teams like Liberty Center and the ones that are waiting in our region. So for us, that's going to be big for us, and that's something we talk about all the time. It's something we need to improve on. And again, I like what he said, though. At the end of the day, I always say players win game, coaches lose games. So you got to look in the mirror and you got to take swallow your pride and learn from it and move on. And the game Friday night, I thought our kids responded well the next day. You can take it as a loss and just, we lost, or you can take it as a lesson. And what are we going to do to be better this next week?
Very good. Coach Menzie, in order for the Panthers to make a playoff run, where do you need to shore things up?
I mean, I think the physicality part is definitely there, but also minimize our 3 and outs. I think you're 4 and outs, I guess, but just contribute, make sure everybody's on the same page, and cut down your mental mistakes. There's some times that I think being in low numbers, I think sometimes we get a little fatigued and try to take the easy way out or take a play off, try to regain some strength back. And I think they just need to execute, and we'll perform very well.
Very good. Casey, I know some people would say Liberty doesn't need to improve anywhere, but I know you're not going to say that. Where would you like to see things kick up a notch?
I think it's not just coach speak, but you got to be disciplined in your assignments. And, sometimes when you get kids try to do too much, then they don't do anything. So just be disciplined in what our job is and go make plays. I think sometimes we wait for things to happen. We got to go make things happen. So in that area, and then, we got to do better in our pass game. And that's something we've said for years and years. But those areas, and then just continue to get better in every facet of the game. Because if you're not getting better, somebody's going to bypass you.
Coach Menzie, I'm curious, was there a turning point to get this program back on track in your mind? Was there a practice, a game? Was there something that you can point to and put your finger on was a big moment for your program, I guess?
It was probably a year or two. Just seeing that, the first year going, 1-9 and seeing the boys they were used to it. To be truthful, they were used to being there. And then, after that, I told them, I always say if you write a goal down and you put it up, that you got to live it. And they kept saying, we want to go 9-1, 10-0. And then that's what I told them at that time, that you're going to get coached like it. So prepare yourself. That means the weight room, attendance, every discipline factor that we could offer them is there. And then also, you still got to kind of help them get through some of the mental problems they got. Maybe that's, whether they're doing film, we monitor everything. We track them, how much film they put in each week, how much they put effort into practice. Are they absent? Are they leaving early? All that good stuff. So when year 2 started happening and we started winning some games, I knew at that time that Paulding was capable of, getting over that threshold again. That we needed to be there. And then year 3, the physicality started happening. The game started going. I tell the coaches, I put the number 5 in my office at work, and I tell them, I said, they go, what's that number? It's how many points I lost to Fear of You and Tenora. And I said, it'll never happen again. So, the boys had to bite into that, and here we are today, and they still, you still hold them accountable. Even a win, you still got to break them down a little bit, kind of help them figure out what the negative things at, where the discipline, how come it didn't happen? You took this play off, is it a run play, or the receivers coming out of the chute looking like you're supposed to be, running some goes, and you see a lot of teams out there nowadays that come out there and the kids are struggling, just kind of lazy going, and then the linebackers got to be able to read that a little bit, the safety's got to be able to read that, and then, swarm to the ball. That's been our biggest contribution. So,
one thing that's fairly unique about you 3 is you're all coaching at your alma mater, which I know it's happened before, but not totally. What's it like coaching at your alma mater? Is it all good? Are there some drawbacks? Give me the good, bad, and the ugly, carefully.
Expectation. The expectation that Paulding once had, and what we're installing right now, I think that's there, and I hope they hold me to an accountable level. I think that's good. The bad part is, it's you're up to the kids. You got to be a people person in the first, and you got to convince the kids to come out. If the numbers aren't there, it's hard really to coach. So, with that being said, I hope the accountability stays. I hope the community stays. Everything's been great for us. So as long as the kids keep coming, I think we'll prevail.
David, what's it like coaching at your alma mater?
Yeah, it's a unique experience. Definitely never something I intended on early on. But I think for me, it's you live the tradition once and you can keep it going. And I was fortunate enough to play under Coach Downey and Coach Furco and those guys, and every single day you better bring it or they were going to be on you up and down. I mean, it was one of those things, and we try to instill that in our guys. The pride that your last name means a lot, but that name on the front of your jersey means a lot more too. So that's a cool thing to see firsthand and to be a part of the things that went on back then, and to now. The drawbacks, I think sometimes everybody. That can be a downfall. And I love the people in Archbold, but if you know everybody, it's you're pretty open to punishment at times. Sometimes, put it that way.
Casey, what's it like coaching at your alma mater?
Well, when you're winning, it's really good. But I think when you coach at your alma mater, it's because you love your community. And certainly I know I do, and I'm sure they do. Otherwise, you wouldn't go back. But, it's great to have family and stuff like that. I think it's kind of a double-edged sword. I love coaching guys, people that I'm related to. I've coached both my nephews. I've had cousins that I coached their kids, and it's been a really good experience. But at the same time, it can be hard because if they're not playing as much as what the parents think, or as much as they want, it can be a challenge, and you got to know that going in, and sometimes you got to have honest conversations. But for the most part, I think the pluses outweigh the minuses. But you've got to have thick skin, but to have a lot of pride in your community and be able to contribute to it, I think is a blessing. And I feel blessed to be coaching at my alma mater.
What's it like coaching your son this year? He's had a heck of a year, man. He had a real nice game Friday, too.
It's I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can. I've had a lot of people tell me to enjoy it. Barry Kern tells me every week to enjoy it. And, you try to. At the same time, it's been difficult. If he's getting carries or he's playing or whatever, and people think, it's because his dad's the coach. They don't see how much work and stuff he's put in, but I just kind of said, I don't care what people think. I'm going to enjoy this. And I'm ecstatic that he's been able to have success that he's been a part of, and not individually, I mean as a team. When I was a player, I never won a league title. As a freshman, I got to go to a state final game, but, that was it. And he's got to experience that a couple of times, and it's been really good and special, and it's unique. So because you can't just watch him, you got to watch everything, and that can be hard sometimes. But it's again, the positives outweigh the negatives, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I don't know that I set out to be a head coach when I first started coaching. I certainly didn't start coaching because my son was playing, but it's been one of the most fulfilling experiences of my life.
That's great, Casey. Thank you.
When did you start thinking about being a head coach at Liberty Center, or did it just happen?
It didn't just happen. When I first started coaching, I knew I wanted to be involved, and I was just content to be an assistant. I started out as a freshman coach, and I'd always heard that don't always look ahead to your next job, and so I thought I'm going to be the best freshman coach I can be. And I was for 6 years, and then I moved up to be the defensive coordinator, and I thought I'm going to be the best defensive coordinator I can be. I had no aspirations of being a head coach, but then after a couple of years, you kind of start thinking, maybe if I was a head coach, I'd do this, and that kind of got the wheels turning a little bit, and I had my family and established and stuff like that. And then it became, I think I'd like to be the head coach one day. So it wasn't just like one day, but it was, kind of slow over a few years where it got to be where I think that's something I want to do. Thank God I didn't think about it enough, because if I had really thought about following Rex, that would be stupid. And I didn't realize it until after I got hired. I'm like, man, what the heck did I just do? But I learned so much from Rex. he announced it was going to be his last year before the season started, and I think he knew that. But he was still going to clinics, taking notes. He'd been coaching for 30-plus years, and he was still trying to learn and improve himself, and I've continued to try to do that. I always look for little nuggets that can help your program.
Was Liberty Center the place that you wanted to coach if you had the chance? Did you think about that?
I probably would never have left it to go anywhere else.
Okay.
It's going to be Liberty or nothing.
Okay.
Why is that, Casey? I think that's interesting. Why is that? So you just stayed at Liberty as a D coordinator for 25 years instead of taking a head coaching job somewhere else?
Probably.
I love it.
I mean, my family's here. My kids were in school. I wasn't going to go somewhere else on a Friday night or anything like that. And it was just, I guess, the community.
I respect that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Why does this community love football so much?
That's a great question. It's not new. I've got somebody posted it on Facebook not long ago, and I had a copy of the old Toledo Blade magazine from 1980 that talked about small town football in Ohio, and they chose Liberty Center to do the article on. And it was the first year Liberty had ever made the playoffs, but it talked about the huge crowds we got, and up until that season, we weren't any good. Had tons of losing seasons in a row, but people just love football here. And then they had old timers football, which if you talk to those guys, they had more people at the old timers games than they did at the high school games at that time. And I think it's just what people did. There's nothing else to do here. I mean, you're going to farm, you're going to hunt and fish, and you're going to go play sports at school, and that's it. And then when you have success, everybody's out there. There have been years where we haven't had the crowds that we do now when we weren't as good. But when you have success, and I'm sure Paulding's seeing that now, I bet your attendance is up this year, isn't it? And
A lot more than I've seen in years past.
yeah, so when you win, people come, and it makes for a great atmosphere. The atmosphere Friday was awesome. Archbold was packed, Liberty was packed, and it's what you do it for, I guess.
Domino, did you always want to coach at Archbold? Did you think about being a head coach, or when did that enter your mind?
No, I was not right away. I'll tell you that. My first 2 years, I knew nothing. I'll be honest. I always apologized to those senior classes, and it was a rough go for a couple years, definitely. When I started coaching, I think I was 21, 22, coming back and forth from college. I got the opportunity from Coach Miller, just to volunteer. Loved it. I was coaching baseball at the time too. Never really crossed my mind. It was doing it because you love your community, you love your program. It was an awesome experience. How cool is it? You get to be at home, go coach these kids, and have fun with it. And then the opportunity arose to become the head coach. Truthfully, I don't think I was. I know I wasn't ready. I wasn't. And thankfully, I've learned a little bit over the time, and been fortunate to coach some awesome young men. And I always say they make me look good. They do. But it was a journey, though. It was over the last 11 years. It's been how can we get better? I know he talked about it. What are we doing to get better in the offseason? What are you doing after losses? You can sit there and feel bad about yourself, or you can get better. That's really your only option. So, but it's been a fun ride, definitely, to say the least. It's been very fulfilling. As he mentioned, to coach for your alma mater. There are some negatives to it, but they will by far the positives outweigh those negatives all day long.
Coach Menzie, your path took you a little bit longer to get back to Paulding, but did you always have it in the back of your mind that you would come back to your alma mater and coach?
Yeah, I've always wanted to. I've always thought it, to give back. But mine was a little different. I was 2 days before our first game that I became the intern head coach. I thought, man, what am I doing here now? But do I regret it? Do I turn it back? No, I think I learned a lot, especially that quick and that fast. You got systems, you got input. Wouldn't give it up for the world. I mean, I had an opportunity to coach in Fort Wayne for a couple of years here and there, but just coming back home and kind of seeing, some of the people I graduated with, coaching their kids and seeing how the program's changed, and especially these last couple of years has been so positive.
I don't have much else. I just have one more question.
Go ahead. I got a couple more.
Okay. The last thing I want to ask is, if you could pick one thing, or maybe two, that you're most proud of that you've done with your program, what would you say it is? What are you most proud of?
Most proud of is seeing what influence I've had on these young men. See them come back to the games and, see that sparkle still. That's probably what I'm most proud of.
That's great, Coach. Damo, what are you most proud of?
Yeah, actually, I had this conversation this past weekend. One of my former players got married, and they asked, what's your favorite part about coaching? And I said, this right here. Seeing them get married, seeing them be great dads. We're getting to the point where they're all having kids and they're getting married. That's the best part about it. See how far they've come. I love football, but at the end of the day, that's not my main job. It's to make sure these kids are ready for the real world, and to be positive influences on the rest of society.
That's great. That's great. Casey, most proud of?
I think the community service our kids have done over the years. This year's senior class has been a part of raising over $30,000 that we've given away to charity. We gave some to the Honor Flight in Findlay. We've given it to our local VFW, and they could renovate the inside of that. The Henry County Cancer Society, the Fridge of Love, that is like a food bank kind of thing, and then a couple of others that, we do a lift-a-thon in the summer, and basically we give all that money away. And then usually early December, the seniors volunteer, and we go and help load boxes for Henry County Christmas Cheer. And that's a humbling experience as well. And, it was run by some older guys that there's no way they can lift these boxes and stuff, and our guys do it. And we get out of school and go do it, and it's very humbling, but it's very rewarding to see these guys get back to the communities and get nothing in return other than you're helping other people. That's probably, aside from all the wins and stuff like that, that's probably the most important thing that we do.
Great answers, man. Great job.
Yeah. I always talk to veteran coaches or guys that have retired, and they always say, I never enjoyed the wins enough. Do you feel like you enjoy the victories enough? Because you're so locked into the next week and the next game, do you feel like you enjoy the victories? And I know you've talked about that too, Coach Strock, that I didn't enjoy the wins enough when I was coaching. Do you feel like you do?
Probably not.
Yeah.
You can enjoy it maybe for a night, and then the next day in the afternoon, you're watching film and you're just moving on to the next game. And there's very few seasons where the last game you play, you win. And so after the last game, there's nothing to enjoy until you kind of really reflect back on the whole season. But yeah, a lot of times a win feels more like relief than enjoyment for me, which is probably not good. It's probably not healthy, but that's kind of how it is, I guess.
Go ahead, Dom.
Yeah, no, not enough. Definitely not. We talk about this as a staff. I've been better about it the last couple years, trying to take a moment, enjoy it. But we're competitors. I mean, it's ingrained in us. When you have a couple hours that night before you go to bed, and next morning it's go time. It's time to start focusing on the next opponent and to get our guys ready. And it's something that it's a healthy addiction, we'll call it that. But no, it's a hobby. I love it. I think that's the best part about it. It's my favorite part, other than the kids, obviously, but trying to figure out the next opponent. What can you do to beat them? And it's always fun. We didn't beat a Liberty Center, but teams like that, man, it is a great time trying to figure out what you can do to try to slow them down. Obviously, wasn't a good formula last week, but that's the fun part in it. That's why we do what we do.
Kind of enjoy the wins now compared when we were 1-9. I mean, I think it's more of an enjoyable thing for the kids. I mean, the kids, they'll let you know how they've done. We don't know that, how bad some of the calls we did. I think Coach has already said it. We take the losses, so the wins. I give the wins to the kids. They're the one performing that act. They're out there doing what they got to do. And again, it's just the preparation kind of takes away from that enjoyment. So, but the enjoyment's at the end of the year. Your awards a banquet. You see where how you've gotten better from the previous year. So, I've enjoyed them. But right now, it's like you wake up and it's another day, and 11 weeks later, 12 weeks later, you're still waking back up, doing the same routine again. So enjoyment will happen, hopefully in 5-6 weeks, but we'll see how that goes too.
Touch on your families a little bit and the sacrifices that they make. And maybe they're happy you're gone. I don't know.
How'd you look at me?
I know your wife too well.
Yeah, no, my wife, my family, it's been awesome. I got 2 daughters now. One's 4, one's almost 1, next couple of weeks away. The 4-year-old loves it. She wakes up on Fridays. It's football Friday, and she's amped up, ready to go, gets her football dress on, and away we go. But they, having a wife as a head coach as well has been, it's tough. We have a hectic schedule, but she understands what I'm going through, and just in the spring, it's a flip-flop. I understand what she's going through. When we have bad days, we can, throw ideas off each other. But yeah, my family's awesome. My parents, her parents, helping out, brothers and sisters. We have a lot of people who live close to us, so sometimes our kids are all over the place. But it's an awesome experience. It truly is, and it's. My daughter always reminds me on Friday that we better not lose. That's what she tells me when I walk out the door. So, and I think she means it. So.
Casey or Jim, family?
My wife and I are empty nesters, but we're also foster parents. So, she's actually the head coach at Byfield because, everything's prepared. She's washing clothes, she's doing things, running errands, making sure things get happen. And the other coaches the same way. We all sacrifice. And the thing is, you got a great significant other when they understand what it takes for your sacrifice, but they sacrifice twice as much. So, it's there. My kids, they support it. They show up to games, and it's been kind of a family, thing we live by. That we go out there and celebrate a few minutes, whether it's a win or loss. It's been great this year being winning, but we also celebrate it when it's losing too. So, just because it was an opportunity for us to come together.
That's good.
My family's been awesome. I went to a Hall of Fame induction one year, and the guy who had the most wins in Ohio at that time said, "You can't be a head coach if your wife's a B word." He's right. And, but my family has been all in from the beginning. And really, my kids don't know anything. I've coached football since before they were born. So they were born into it. They've lived through it. And my wife, for years was hauling 4 kids to games by herself, holding kids as they were sleeping and trying to get everybody to the car. And so she has sacrificed a ton for our program. My daughter, I have 2 older daughters that are out of school now that still go to all the games. Just the other night, my wife said, "If you ever need to go to battle, you better take L," because she gets mad when she hears people in the stands complaining about something, and gets all fired up about it. But and then obviously my son has been tagging along with me for probably 10 years now, maybe more. That was awesome, even when he was a ball boy. My wife has made it possible for me to do this, and it hasn't all been sunshine and rainbows either, but at the end of the day, she's always supported me, and she's amazing. Like every week we win, she makes breakfast for the team. Every Monday or Tuesday, she makes either cookies or some kind of treat or dessert for our team entirely. Tonight, she brought down some Oreo pudding dessert. She baked apples with ice cream, and then she's making breakfast for 30 guys on Saturday mornings if we win. If there's a JV game, if there's no JV game, she's making it for 70. And she gets up, she won't buy anything the night before. She gets up, goes to Walmart that morning, makes it. She asks what time I'm leaving, and it's ready when I go out the door.
What time is breakfast usually served over at the...
9 o'clock.
Okay.
Hey, does Spike ever dip into it?
Spike has had some leftovers before.
What about Coach Lindgren?
He hasn't been down there on a Saturday morning for breakfast.
Does he know about it? He does now.
He does now. But, so that, to me, that's amazing. Like, and I know she does it now because my son is playing, but she was doing it before he played. So, she's part of the program, and the kids definitely know she cares.
You guys are in an interesting situation because you're coaching at your alma mater, so you maybe hear it even more. But there's yahoos like Tori and I each week that are maybe picking against your team or saying stuff that you don't like. How do you block out the outside noise? Because there's a lot of pressure on you guys.
I don't know if you do block. Sometimes you don't want to block out the outside noise. There's been games that I know people have picked against us, and we use that for motivation.
Yeah.
And when you pick for us, we ignore it.
So you're never happy.
You twist the facts how you need them.
You learned that from Rex.
And sometimes maybe you embellish things a little bit to get that motivation for the kids. But, we talk to the kids about it all the time. And I show them Nick Saban videos when he talks about the rat poison. And, they know, like, when I show a Nick Saban video, they roll their eyes and everything. But I'm like, this is it right here, man. If you let that affect, good or bad, some criticism is warranted, some of it's not. Some praise is warranted, some of it's not. If you let it affect the way you play, it's never going to be good. So we constantly talk about it and teach it and tell them not to worry, and then you just twist it however you want it to work.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, going along that, we use the rat poison one too, but you got to weather storms. There's going to be a lot of good things thrown your way. There's going to be a lot of nasty things thrown your way. You got to find a way to fight through it. I think it's a great indicator of the next step of their lives too. They're going to go through a lot of stuff, and how can you handle that and approach each day with a positive mindset and get better? I mean, that's essentially what we're here to do, help these young men get better. So that's a big thing, don't let it, I like using it to your advantage too, definitely. But now it's something that these kids have to get used to nowadays, because it's something that I don't think we ever had to worry about 15 years ago, They just had 96.1 on the radio, that's all you could hear.
Well, it's always been, we used to tell our kids it's kind of like, the Panthers against the world type thing. So every day, we try to point out some things, and if there's people for us, we still try to point out that, they only give us a slighter margin. We try to warn, try to get them hyped up with it. But the thing at the end of the day is, if the kids buy into it and it gets them down, what it achieves, they kind of let things get to them. It actually affects them the same way they feel. So we try to keep that kind of a minimal. I don't push it. This year here, the kids kind of seem like the hype of the buys and where they're seeing that. So it's kind of a bigger picture than we had before. So that was kind of the only thing we kind of allowed in there. So we try not to talk about it as coaches, and we try to keep the players talk minimal. So that's kind of how we deal with it more.
I said I didn't have any more questions. I do have one, but it's a yes or no answer. There's no elaborating either way. You got it? Let's say there was a rule in place in the coming years where if you finished in the top 4, you had a choice whether you wanted to take the bye or not. This year, let's say you had that choice. Are you taking the bye or not? Yes or no? No.
Yes.
Yes. No, yes, both emphatic and quick. Casey's,
Well, which does yes or no mean? Now I forgot.
no, yes means
Yes,
you're
you're
taking
taking
the
the-
bye.
okay.
Coach Menzie said no bye.
Okay.
He wants to play.
Okay.
Damo likes the bye.
Not saying I like the bye, but for this,
You're taking it.
if we're healthy,
I guess I'd probably take it.
Okay. Would you
Yes.
would you like to have the option or not?
Almost every other tournament, you do get that option. So, I'd probably like the option.
Yeah, one of our friends, Brady Stabler, posed that question a couple weeks ago, and I thought, it's a fair question. You earn a top 4 spot. Shouldn't you get to decide whether you want to buy or not? And a lot of coaches would probably take it to get healthy and things like that. And some that are on a roll may want to keep rolling.
How far down the list do you go to give them the option? Do you keep
Just
giving
top
them
4.
Just top 4 get the
Yep,
option?
and then if number 4 says, no,
five
we want to
gets a
play,
bye?
5 becomes 4. Yep, gets the bye, yeah.
Coach Payton pointed out tonight coming here, I didn't know that happened in basketball and stuff, and I thought, that's kind of interesting. You could change the games though too, He also said like in basketball, he said you kind of got your position.
Oh, yeah.
So, I thought, you can't get a position, but on the same note, if you're rolling, it's a good opportunity. If you're not, take the bye and get healthy.
I guess my devil's advocate is, do you lose your seed then?
I'm not going that far.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't
'cause
know.
You're going to have to reseed
Yeah.
in that situation almost.
Yeah, so if the 3 says no, do they?
Who are they playing then?
I'm just saying, should you have a choice to take a bye?
Well, you think about that. I'm going to ask you that on Saturday morning on
All right.
Rise and Rewind. I need a little more explanation on that.
All right, that gives me enough
Because you're
time.
posing more problems by giving the option.
I'm just saying, you earned a top 4 seed. You should be able to choose your destiny. That's all I'm saying, Lynn.
Well, all right, you're fine, but
See?
I got some more questions for you on Saturday then.
I'll be here.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you guys so much. Good luck on the playoff trail here.
Thank you.
Looking forward to
Thank you,
following
guys.
you guys. Yep. Thank you guys.
Nice
Have a great
job.
week.